Hello, scholars. My favorite punctuation mark, hands down, is the dash. The M dash, in fact. Okay, I'm going to go over the IXL exercise on dashes, but first let's take a look at those three uses of the dash. The first way we'll use a dash is when we want to put a pause in a sentence that gives some emphasis to the thing that follows the pause. This kind of dash says, there's more here, and I want to emphasize it. Here's an example. Each person is born to one possession which outvalues all his others, his last breath. So we've got a first idea, we're tacking on a second idea, and that second idea is going to explain or complete or just relate in an interesting way to that first idea. We can also use dashes in pairs. So just like we use paired commas or parentheses to insert something non-essential in a sentence, if I've got two dashes working together, again, I'm going to be putting something in the sentence which is nice to know, but that the sentence doesn't absolutely need to make sense. And a good test for using paired commas or paired dashes or parentheses, right, is to think about those marks as working like scissor snips. If we snip here and cross out what's inserted in between, our sentence should read fine without it. So take a look at this example. You trust the writer to be telling you the truth or trying. In turn, as a writer, and I can snip that part out right there, you hope that your reader will be generous in interpreting your words. Okay, if the sentence works fine without the inserted material, then you've probably got those paired punctuation marks in the right place. The third way you can use a dash is to indicate disjointedness or interruption. So sometimes when we talk, our words are a little bit scattered. We interrupt ourselves the way I've been doing a lot as I've been making this video right now. And the way to indicate that is by putting those little dashes in there for those pause. So here's an example from Anne of Green Gables. Matthew took his courage in both hands and replied, well, now, since you suggested, I might as well take, that is, look at, buy some hayseed. And in this situation, Matthew, the speaker, is super awkward because he's talking with an unfamiliar lady. And you can see that by the pauses and the interruptions in his speech. Now, similarly, if we have someone talking and they're being interrupted, we'll use a dash to show that interruption. Okay, so three ways to use that dash. First one, pause here. I'm going to give you something that relates to what I just said in an interesting way. Okay, paired dashes, two dashes working together to insert something non-essential in the sentence, and then to indicate disjointedness or interruption. Let's go ahead now and take a look at the exercise. I'm going to go ahead and read each sentence. I'm listening for places where I need a pause, but the pause isn't already in there. If they've already got punctuation mark in there, then that pause has been taken care of. In this case, I need to put two dashes in. Captain John Smith, one of the first leaders of Virginia's Jamestown colony, created a dictionary containing more than 500 Powhatan words, including Chesapeake, opossum, persimmon, and raccoons. Okay, it seems to me that I've got a little pause right here, and then another pause right here. What I've got inserted into the sentence is a positive phrase, so something that just gives you a little more information about Captain John Smith. And if I mentally snip that part within the dashes out, I've got Captain John Smith created a dictionary. Well, that works just fine as a sentence. Mount Rainier's Liberty Ridge climbing route is known for its amazing views and technical difficulty, not to mention its long history of mountaineering accidents. Okay, right here looks like a really good place to give a pause that gives some emphasis. So we're adding something on that kind of relates to what came before in an interesting way, like this place is amazing, it's difficult, and it's also pretty dangerous. Okay, nice place for a dash. The proceeds will support our yes. Well, let me try that again. The proceeds will support our yes, 100% of the proceeds will support our efforts to protect endangered species. So it looks like right here you wouldn't say our yes, we need our yes. Again, that little self-interruption here. Let's go and add that dash in. Photographer George Steinmetz takes aerial photographs, what he calls street photography from the sky, while soaring through the sky on a motorized paraglider. Looks like I've got a little inserted phrase that starts right here, ends right here. That's where the pauses were. And if I snip this out, I've got photographer George Steinmetz takes aerial photographs while soaring through the sky on a motorized paraglider. So my sentence reads fine without that inserted material. That tells me I've got those dashes in the right place. The trade union's president was voted into office by a resounding majority. At least that's the story they gave. So we've got one single dash here that's being used to add something onto the tail end of our sentence, something a little bit interesting that relates to what we just said. Looks good to me. Street vendors in the Philippines prepare isa ng manok, and I'm sorry, I'm sure I said that wrong, marinated chicken intestines that are grilled or deep fried and served with spicy, sour, or sweet sauces. Well, it looks like we have a description of what this particular food is. It starts right here. Salmon hatch in fresh water and migrate to the ocean, though they eventually return to fresh water to spawn and die. Okay, I want to point out that we could actually leave this as is, right? We actually don't need any punctuation here, but we can put the dash in here. And the dash just gives a little more emphasis to the fact that they're going to come back and they're going to die. Sometimes you've got choices. Well, not sometimes. Lots of the time you've got choices with your punctuation depending on what you want to give emphasis to. So again, right here I could put nothing, but if I want to give it emphasis, dash is what does that best. In 2013, a team of geologists working in the Antarctic accidentally discovered a new species of sea anemone, the first species known to grow in ice. Now it looks like we've got a pause right here that we need to account for, so let's drag the dash there. When cross-country skiers, legs aching and lungs burning, cross the finish line of a race, they often collapse like rag dolls. So I've got a little description of these skiers here, these little absolute phrases. And if I put the dashes here, then that helps to set those off. So you can see that that's just a little descriptive phrase added in there. And of course, I can test it by crossing it out. When cross-country skiers cross the finish line of a race, they often collapse like rag dolls. That sentence reads fine without that insert material. So I've got those dashes in the right place. Okay, last one. Well, I wish I could do an Irish accent here, but I can't. We'll use the town of Killarney as our base, the Irish tour guide said. Then we'll head out to, oh, how about the Dingle Peninsula? Okay, a little self-interruption here, right between the 2 and the O. Great place for a dash. And I think we're good with this exercise.